So about a week before the recording of this video, I found the first high rune of this ladder season. It was a Vex, and it dropped in Terrorized Travincal, which my Zealot had just become efficient enough to run without really risking dying and without taking too long. And before I started going on those runs, I had the weird urge to record them, and I didn't, and boom, my very first run out pops a Vex, and I said to myself, I won't make that mistake again. The next time Terrorized Travincal comes around on the Terror Zone cycle and I'm playing, I'm just going to record it without any commentary and later put together some highlights. That's what you're about to see here. So the first 40 or so of these 100 runs were done with a level 91 Zealot rocking a Grief with damage plus 364 and other very high rolls. Damage is below par. You can see me roll this right here on the channel. Guillaume's Face with a perfect Ruby socketed, High Lord's Wrath, very high defense roll, Herald of Zakarum with an Scalder's Ire socketed with perfect Topaz, Laying of Hands, above average Ravenfrost, high roll String of Years, high roll Carrion Wind, and War Travs with 45 MF. Going to hover over all my charms as I continue speaking. They're not particularly impressive, they're alright, and almost exclusively self-found, besides the Geeds, the Torch, and the Annie. And, we're kind of at an early endgame stage, which is to say, most of our items are pretty good, and just about best in slot. The major exceptions to that would be Scalder's Ire and Carrion Wind, and generally they are above average rolls. We're not quite at the end game in terms of min-maxing, or finalizing those last couple slots, or indeed of making our inventory very powerful, but we are able to run Travincal decently well. We are sitting at 232% Magic Find, and let's get into the first batch of highlights. Thanks for hanging out, let's see what we can do. So guys, a pretty successful batch of about 40 Travincal runs, wouldn't you say? That Crown of Ages with a very, very high roll, all res and damage reduction being both one off of perfect, was the crown jewel, and just like the Vex that I mentioned in the intro, it came on the very first run, which is astonishingly cool, and I actually managed to trade that for Bear. Other high points include finding Lum, Gull, and a magic diadem, even though that turned out to be a dud, all in the same run, and finding that Cold Sunder, which we're still early enough in the ladder, that I got for. Now, in between that first batch of run highlights and the next one that you're about to see, I did a little bit of trading. I broke up that bear that we got for Crown of Ages into low, low, low-ist, turned one of the lows into a Fortitude, and the other one into a Grief. Obviously, there's a little more than just low that goes into both of those, but you can actually see me roll both of those right here on the channel, and as for the old Grief, I passed it over to our Frenzy Barb Frisian, who I didn't really mention in the intro because he's not at the end game either, thus he dies in Travincal quite a lot. As soon as he died, I never bothered rezzing him, did most of these runs solo. So the upcoming run highlights will be without the 139% MF from a Topazed Scalders. Let's see how we do. Well, friends, the back half of these runs, with an improved Grief and Fortitude over Skulders, were sadly a little bit disappointing relative to the front half. That said, it was always going to be really tough to top a very high roll Crown of Ages that Transfer Bear on run number 1, no less. That said, I guess our high points here were Kira's Guardian, despite the unfortunate low roll to all res. That sharp Grand Charm of Dexterity was actually pretty cool for self-use. And I guess Lum Rune, which when Lum makes your top 3, you know the pickings were a little bit slim. We did find a good amount of charms and, you know, even Sunder charms and lots of things to identify, including some more off-the-radar stuff like Druid Pelts that are always just one series of randomizations away from jackpot. That said, it didn't really break our way, but overall, we cannot complain. Great run out overall, and I had a ton of fun doing it. Travincal is something that the Zealot is actually quite good at running, and I'm enjoying this relative to Last Ladder's Windy Druid, where doing all the summoning and the pre-buffing and stuff would make Travincal runs just a lot less efficient. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. Let me know if you found anything good in the comments below yourself, and I'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Have a good one.